Hello, welcome back to Seaopolis 2. This is episode 18 and maybe the last. We shall see. And yes, I did indeed add a big smiley face to the front of my Extreme Reactor, which I did off camera. I always planned to do for the thumbnail for the last episode. So let's first of all go through what I added off camera. First thing is I added an advanced smelting factory here, and the reason for that is that I popped one of these drawers full of cognizant dust on the setup over there, and it absolutely stacked up all the ore pieces, not that, in here in the flux compactor, and as a result that just absolutely filled this chest, and the solar cookers they couldn't keep up. So I made an advanced smelting factory, which, as you can see there, is stealing the ore pieces off the laser IO system that goes that way. I have made some machines in preparation for today's episode. I have two chemical injection chambers, a bunch of refined storage crafters, an induction smelter, chemical injection chamber, I've already said that, and a chemical crystallizer, some chests, and a few bits and bobs. Let's just get rid of this rain. What else did I do off camera? I have added an extra power tap to the reactor and run ultimate power cables all the way over there. And I did run the refined storage cables over there as well. So we've got a setup with the grids over there. Let me show you quickly what I did with the top of the reactor here. So I've got two reactor redstone ports. First one, it's this button here, the on-off set from signal. So basically that means redstone signal. So when it gets a redstone signal, it turns on. When it doesn't get one, it turns off. And then this redstone reactor port here is this button, energy stored, and then you cycle through the different options till you get to active while between. So it's active while between 5% and 10%. Now you might be thinking, why so low? Well, the simple reason for that is that once you turn the reactor off, it keeps generating power. So when the reactor gets down to 10%, it will turn on, and then as soon as it goes above 10%, it'll turn off, but the remaining heat and power in the system is enough to charge that energy buffer up. I have created approximately just 1,000 creative waste. Now I've been doing this manually because there's not a lot to it. All these hoppany botany pots on here send the creative essence into this compactor, and when it gets to 64 it auto makes into creative essence. I put a seed reprocessor here so I could take these seeds out and put them in, and then what that does, that creates an extra 2 creative essence per seed. So that was a nice little top up, and then I just steal those out of there. These two here do not go into that flux compactor, so I can take these ones back, and as part of the recipe for the creative waste, I just pop these in here and then do that recipe, oops, and then run over here and add them in. If my calculations are correct, which they're probably not, you need 800 creative waste, he says. Now I'm gonna hope the 800 is correct to finish this. I upgraded the enriching system to an advanced factory, and I upgraded the infusion thingy to an advanced fusion factory 2. I made a second induction smelter, which is in my inventory here, and that is fully upgraded. I upgraded these engines. I'm not sure whether I did that last episode though, and added some auxiliary reaction chambers in. I only added one in because these, as you can see, they're all full of power, well, apart from that last one. So putting two in really wasn't necessary. What else did we do? I don't think we did much. It was more prep work for this final system here. Now what I did is I built an SPS casing out of white wool for the structural glass, and then I used blue wool where the SPS casing goes itself, and then dismantled it, so I knew exactly the count of blocks that I needed. Now the 60 casings that we're going to need is actually we're going to need more, because the machines have casings in as well. I have created, or have I not? Yeah, yes, there. The SPS casing pattern is already in here, and so is the SPS port. So we're going to start out this episode by making the SPS casing. And we need 60 of these. At least. 60 for the multi-block. And I need to get the... That's the reason why I put the refined storage up here. We need to get the polonium and plutonium out of here. Put them into there, and this time it should let us craft as long as we've got enough. So you need, it's 1 for 1 on the plutonium, and then 4 for 1 on the polonium per casing. And there's a 60 casing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make it. Now there's a PowerPoint here, and this is going to be the bottom center of the SPS casing, and basically what you want to do is make a 5x5 centered on that, and then knock the corners off. So you get the blocks back, and that's the easiest way to remember this shape. So it's a 5x5 with each corner knocked off. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to put 3 SPS casings along each edge. And then we're going to repeat the 5x5s times the 4 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I'll do is I'll use the builder's gadget and just build these columns up. Oh, I did that wrong. Let me just undo that, and undo that. You want to build them on these SPS casings. And again, you want to knock the corners off. Okay, so go round, knock the corners off. And then line the top of these again with the SPS casing block. Right, I need to take the middles out. You can see there I've only got 8 on me. Oh, I haven't took the bottoms out, that's why. So don't forget to take the bottoms out. So you've got that shape that we had before. And then take the middle block out. So each side, take the middle block out, because that is the place where we're going to be having the SPS ports. Can I get in? Yes. And you should be left with 20 blocks. Okay. Now, while we're at this, you can go down each joining in between the sides. And then what you want to do here is put a block there, there, and there on each side. So that's the middle where the structural glass, and then on the bottoms of each corner. Okay, so you end up with that. Now what I want to do is I need to get back up there. Did I bring any blocks with me? Oh, I can use the wool. Okay, and on the top up here, I don't have enough casings on me. I've forgotten a side, haven't I? Yeah, I have. Oh no, I haven't. No, right. So just any block there. And then you want to fill in the top here as well, like the bottom, with the structural glass. And leave the middle one empty on the top. And we're going to need some sort of lighting on top of here, otherwise it's going to attract mobs. But unfortunately I didn't bring any torches up with me. That's almost complete. That's part one. So that's the structural frame. If we look at the quest for this, so we can collect the plutonium and polonium, and then the SPS casings. That gives you 4. Okay, now there's a quest here for SPS ports, and don't forget it gives you 2. So it gives you 2 ports, and we want 1. Well, we want 6, 1 for each side. So we'll put those in there. And hopefully we've got enough of everything. We have, and you can see there's a lot of control circuits from Mechanism. So I pre-made those. Pretty easy to make. So take your SPS ports and put them in each side in the middle. Now we're going to have to break in. Wow, what? Did I accidentally turn that off? We'll put 1 in the floor and then 1 in the roof as well. It's not finished yet. See the red particle effect that came up? That's all fine and dandy, but it's not finished. And I forgot the 2 ports that we had on here. So I went ahead. You do want 2 extra ones actually, so that's actually good. You want supercharged coils now, and you want 1 for each port. So I want 6 supercharged coils. And we just want to grab some more polonium. And again, you can see most of this is the alloys and circuits from Mechanism. Now these 2 extra ports that you've got in your hand, that I've got in my hand, sorry, you use those for input and output. So I'm going to put one at this side and one at this side. So I can put the one over here in already, and then I'll use the other one to get back out. Now what you do with these supercharged coils is you put them on each one of these blocks, but not the ones that we're going to be using for input and output. And then here, this is going to be our input port, and that should give you the red particle effect. Now, in effect, this is now finished, but it isn't just quite, because we need to power up each of the port sides. So these ones here, so we're going to be connecting them underneath, and then we'll have one run over the top. That's almost the power connected up. Now the power isn't fully connected. There's a gap here, look. So I can connect this up. Right, so I believe that's all the sides connected. Yep. So the only thing left to do here is connect this up. And that should now have powered each of these ports. Now each SPS port, as you can see there, holds 40 million FE. So we need to make sure our big reactor is coming on. Let's just get rid of this bloody rain again. So it's currently on. No, it's currently off. Why is it not turning on? Oh, that's because it's below this threshold, isn't it? So if we set that to 0%, it should, yeah, should come on. Because the SPS port emptied it completely, it went below that 5% threshold. So now it's on all the time until it fills those ports up. So that's one full. That's full. That's full. Maybe it's done them all already. Such a beast, that big reactor. We'll have to take it that the top is already done. So that is our SPS port ready, and, well, SPS multi-block completed and ready and waiting. So the question is, what do we put in it? Now we're making antimatter. Let's just follow the quests. Oh, we could have not done one. We'll just collect that. So we're actually making the antimatter pellet, and the way to make that is turn in antimatter, 25 millibuckets of antimatter in a chemical crystallizer makes the antimatter pellet. And to make the antimatter, this is what we're doing here in the supercritical phase shifter, the SPS, is we take polonium and basically put it in. So what we're going to utilize here is our polonium is made by the solar neutron activator. That's this. We're going to hook this up to this port. If I've got enough treasure tubes, which I probably haven't, looking at that. I'm not going to break anything else. Now, that, I believe that doesn't make this nuclear waste, I don't think. So I should be able to put the creative waste in there and get turned into the other waste, and then it should go into this, because I've disconnected that. So it was connected just here. This part here was connected to the isotopic centrifuge, so I disconnected it, so it will only go into the solar neutron activator. Let me just grab some more pressure tubes, because I'm nowhere near and got enough of these. So we will come across to the point where we need this, which is just over here. And then go up a couple, so I'm not running into pipes. That's too far. Right, so the only thing left to do here is to bring the creative waste up. And that's easy enough done. We're just going to steal this oak drawer, oops, and not beat the floor up in the same time. And we simply need to replace it with this drawer. That's the same drawer. That's the one with stuff in. And then when we wrench this, all this process should start up. So that makes that, then goes into here, which makes the palladium, which goes into here. And as we can see, the supercritical or SPS machine is working away, creating antimatter. Now hopefully I've got the right figures for stuff. We're going to use this port here as the output. What do we do with the antimatter? We've already gone over this, haven't we? I think it goes into the chemical crystallizer. Let me just make sure. So chemical crystallizer turns the liquid antimatter into antimatter pellets. So we can pop that down just here. If I put it that way, that's probably in. That could be in. It's already powered up. Now I believe it's the pressurized tubes, and they shouldn't mix with those because they are powered ones. I just need to use the configurator to extract, and that should extract the antimatter, as you can see there. And then as soon as this reaches 25 millibuckets, it should make a pellet. And there we have it, one antimatter pellet. What do we do with the antimatter pellet? Well, let's grab that one. So we've got the quest done. And we get an extra one for our good deeds. We can go onto the antimatter core, and this here is where we're heading for, the end game. Okay, now there's two things that we need to make to get the antimatter core, and that is the antimatter energy cell tier 4 and the antimatter circuit tier 4. I believe it's the circuit here where we use the antimatter pellet. The other side, the antimatter energy cell, doesn't have, as far as I'm aware, any antimatter in it. Oh, it does. So it's right at the beginning here. Oh, I think I might have miscalculated the creative waste in that, if that's the case. I think I totally missed that one. So that's not good. Anyway, we should go ahead and create one of these antimatter cores. So what I have on me here is kind of chemical injection chamber. Now we're going to need that for one part of the antimatter core. I believe it's the antimatter circuit part. You can see there it's made in the chemical injection chamber. So we start with atomic alloys, elite control circuits, and more atomic alloys to make the ultimate, and then we put the ultimate into a chemical injection chamber along with hydrogen chloride, i.e. salt, to make the antimatter circuit tier 1. Now I've been making salt, and we already have salt maker from when we made this setup over here. This makes salt. As you can see, we take dust, throw it in a crystallizer, and that makes salt. And you can see there's 9,000 salts in that. I think I just broke something else, didn't I? Yeah, the sink. So we shall steal this drawer with salt in. I believe this is all you need to do. I haven't actually tried this, so I hope it is. So we need the ultimate control circuit. Now I have these programmed into RS. So you can see it's just more circuits and these alloys. So pretty standard mechanism stuff. So if we take one of these ultimate control circuits, pop that in there, we need to hook the power up. Do have some more power cables. Let's come around the back. Now, is that not going to auto input? Put a cable in there, item cable, put it on top, and let's see whether it works this way. It does. Right, by the looks of that, it's going to take an awful lot of salt. We could do with an upgrade in this pipe as well, so let me just nip back and get an upgrade. Put the upgrade in there. It should pull out the salt quicker. Yeah, there we go, look. And there's our first antimatter circuit tier 1. And then to get to tier 2, I believe you just throw it back in again. You're going to need an awful lot of salt for this. I'm not sure whether there's enough salt. And then for tier 3, I believe you just throw it back in again. And then for tier 4, we need 4 of these. So let's get another 3. We can leave those in there. Now, did I make the combiner? I didn't. I made everything else, but I didn't make the combiner. I'll pop that chamber down there, but I don't think we've got enough salt for this to do all 4. Need a combiner. Right, that's the combiner done. Let's pop that there. So in the combiner, we take one antimatter and the circuit tier 3. Oh, it needs 4 of them, of course, yeah. This is going to require a hell of a lot of salt. Considering this is just one of the cores. Just complete all these quests as we're going down. And then that's an antimatter circuit tier 4. So now we need to make the other side of things. Let's just pop these chests. I don't know why I brought chests actually. I'll just pop them there. We can use one just to dump stuff out that I don't need in my inventory at the moment. So that's one side. So now we need to do, oops, we need to do this side here. Now this is all just basic crafting. I did pop an induction smelter down on the end there. This one has 2 of the flux linkage amplifiers in, as well as that resonant integral components, so it's quite fast. But the rest of it is just simple crafting, which is being programmed in. So what we need is redstone flux cell frames. These things here. So you take these, throw them in the induction smelter with an antimatter pellet. You can grab some more pellets. And then to upgrade them, you need the integral components. By the time we get back up the other end, those should be done, because they're pretty instant. Right, did we get past our tier 1s? Right, so we need one more. So we need one more of those, and then we need 4 of those. Oh, we need 8 actually, not 4, because we need 4 of these to make 4 of these, so we need 8 of these. And I shall take 4 of those. Well, we only need 3 actually, don't we? So, and I'll make those 3 as well, and that's enough to make all of these that we're going to need. Not forgetting to pick one up for the quest. And then, as you can see there, in the induction smelter, again, we need 4 of each to make 1 of the antimatter cores. Now, we've only made 1 of these so far. Now, how are we doing on polonium? There is 600,000 millibuckets in there. That is full. Right, so it's, I mean, this literally is now a case of waiting. I mean, these store 400 million FE, so it's showing us got no power in there, simply because it's using it. It's such a power hog. And this salt, I very much doubt, is going to be anywhere near enough. There's nowhere near enough salt in here to do all this process. So you're going to need an absolute bucket load of hydrogen chloride. I'm just wondering if there's a different way of making it. So we can use hydrogen and chlorine. How do we make chlorine? Ah, that's going the brine route. Right. Thermal evaporation plant to make brine. As you can see here, this makes brine. So there is another way you could go about making it. This is going to run out of salt, so I need to crack on and make a lot more salt, a hell of a lot more. But this can keep processing, keep making antimatter. Let me just make sure this area is chunk loaded, which it is, so that's fine. So this is only tier 2, but you know the setup for getting to the end, and then once you get 4 of each, throw them in the induction smelter, and that gets the antimatter cores, and then that is all you need. We don't have one yet, so I'll keep going. There's no point showing you me crafting salt. I'm processing this, so I'll come back when we've got our first antimatter made. And we're getting closer and closer. I've put a refined storage exporter on and hooked the salt up to an external storage. So this puts that on with a stack upgrade, of course. There's the stack upgrade. And here we go. That is the 12 antimatter that we need to throw into the combiner. Or the antimatter circuit tier 3s, should I say. So now we're combining these into antimatter circuit tier 4s. The antimatter is streaming out of here. I made way too much palladium. Way too much. So that, along with that, in the induction smelter makes our antimatter core. And there we have it, chapter complete. So we can collect all those. There was a quest from a previous chapter. I saw it earlier on. I don't know whether it made the cut or not, but one of these, I made some Solium dust in one of them. But all you need now to do to complete the pack is to repeat what I've just done 3 times, and then complete these, because you have to submit them. So complete what I've just done 3 more times, and then that is the pack done. And that's how you unlock the last Project E chapter. That's what that does. That unlocks Project E, and that is your Selenial trophy for completing the pack. Which there's not really much point in showing you now, is there? Because I've just made all that salt off camera. We've made one of the antimatter cores. It takes an exuberant amount of salt to make the necessary parts. I don't know how much is left in here, but there was a lot more than that, a hell of a lot more. So there's 4k salt in there, and we used the previous 6k that was in the previous storage straw earlier on. Our big reactor is keeping up, but barely. I did create 2 storage drawers, one to push in uranium blocks and the other to pull out the cyanite, which is the waste. But I believe I'm making way too much antimatter anyway. How much was in that combiner? 33 in there. And there's another 30 in there, so that's almost a stack of antimatter. So that's more than enough, I think, to complete the pack. But the hold up here, of course, is salt. But I should carry on making it through and probably clip in near the end, just to prove that the pack is done. But that's pretty much really all I've got to show you. So I hope you've enjoyed the journey with me with this pack. It's been a blast. We didn't do too much wrong. We didn't complete every chapter, but as you can see, there is no point to reach endgame. You don't really need to complete every chapter and every point in the quest book. As you can see, we've got some that we've not even done. So, yeah, it's a very well put together pack. Not sure about this endgame. It's nice to build the SPS. I've never built that before and had that running. But this, I mean, it's just heavily relied on salt. I mean, you could go the other route and make brine and do it that way, but it's a lot of messing about really, just to make salt. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed the journey with me. I might clip in on the end, completing the actual chapter, CC8. So I might clip it in on the end after this outro. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed the journey, and I shall see you in the next pack. Not quite sure which pack that will be yet, but whatever it is, I'm sure and I hope you'll come on the journey with me. And yeah, goodbye for now.